Now at 9, storm damage in southeast Kansas knocked out power and brought trees crashing down. We're going to show you damage left behind in Columbus and how a neighbor stepped in to help.
An ethics complaint filed against the mayor of Carl Junction is set to be discussed by City Council. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
And we'll take you to Jasper County's annual Law Officer Memorial Service and show you how local agencies pay tribute to fallen heroes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Severe weather blows through the 4 states, uprooting trees, knocking down power lines, and creating power outages across our viewing area. Now, these images captured this evening on Crestwood Lane shortly after the storm blew through Pittsburgh, Kansas. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. And one Pittsburgh man says he was caught in the storm. Dustin Wetzel says he was working, delivering food to a residence near the Four Oaks golf course when the weather turned severe. He was in his car when power lines began to fall around him. One line was hanging off his passenger mirror, and he had to wait for Evergy to come cut the power.
I came around and I passed this pole and it wasn't coming down, but this next one back here was like 100 foot in front of me, and I saw it come down, so I stopped, and the lines just fell over the top of me. I've got one little scratch on my car, and that's it.
Well, crews blocked the roadway where the lines were down and will continue working in the area following the storm to help clear the roadway and restore power. Well, it's been quite a hairy afternoon and evening, and it's not over yet. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at weather.
Yeah, it definitely turned out to be a wild afternoon, wild evening, but all in all, when you look at all the dynamics that our atmosphere had this afternoon, we came out pretty good. We did have every single county at least under a severe thunderstorm warning, and we had numerous tornado warnings, but it could have been quite a bit worse. You can see all of our flood warnings due to the heavy amounts of rain, McDonald County over towards Springfield. Look at all the storm reports. These are mainly wind reports. I think there's going to be a couple tornadoes up there because we did have a couple confirmed touchdowns, especially up in Vernon County, but a lot of wind, a lot of hail reports throughout the afternoon into the evening hours. But because we got this huge batch of showers and thunderstorms, dry line's still out here. But all these storms, they really overworked our atmosphere. Yes, we are going to have additional scattered showers and thunderstorms, but I'm not really expecting anything severe. Definitely not much of a tornado threat at all. I think all that's going to be south central, southeastern Missouri, all the way down through northern parts of Arkansas. But yeah, we're going to get some scattered thunderstorms, but it doesn't look like much severe. You can see a couple trying to pop up along the dry line. Still some moderate rain once you get through southwestern Missouri. So the heaviest on the Missouri side, once you get into Oklahoma, some very light showers continuing. Let's go through the night. Hit and miss showers again later on tonight as the upper level low works in. We could get a few stronger storms, maybe a low grade severe, but I'm not really looking at much of a tornado threat, which is good news. And we're going to break this down in the rest of the week here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, Cherokee County received quite a bit of damage as well, with power lines and trees coming down. The strong winds uprooted numerous large trees in Columbus, some blocking roads. At a home at Ohio and Walnut in Columbus was damaged when a large tree smashed down on it. A nearby neighbor heard the large crash and jumped into action to make sure the homeowner was safe.
Climb over all the tree, kind of kicked in his door a little bit because I was hollering for him and he wasn't answering, but he's on oxygen, so he can't talk real loud. Got in there and he was kind of standing there shell-shocked. So told him we needed to get him out because it was still coming down, brought him over to my house.
Well, neighbors say the resident is okay, just a little shaken up. Well, down lines also blocked roads in McCune, Kansas this afternoon, and as of 8 p.m., more than 3,800 residents in Crawford County were still reporting loss of power. Montgomery County, Kansas reports just over 500. Labette County sits at around 200, and in Cherokee County, power outages falling around 150. Well, downed trees in Jasper County also helped contribute to outages in southwest Missouri. Jasper County with the fewest at 49. Barton County reports just over 100. Newton County with just under 600 in the dark. Vernon County reports more than 800. And crews are working to restore power for more than 1,900 residents in McDonald County. Well, Sunday night, severe weather in Kansas produced several tornadoes, one of which caused extensive damage in the Gove County community of Grinnell. Photos from the storm's aftermath show destruction and damage to several structures, including homes and outbuildings. The tornado even blew the roof off of the Catholic church in the town. There were also downed power lines that caused closures on Interstate 70, eastbound from Colby to Grinnell and westbound from Hayes to Grinnell.
Compared to, I think, some of these places, it wasn't that bad. It managed all the flying debris, messed up all the vehicles. I got damage to my roof, or the chimney on the other side's gone. I still got bricks on the roof. Stuff came through the windows and I guess flew around inside the house.
Well, Greensburg, Scott City, St. Francis, and Pratt were also threatened by tornadoes on what was by far the most active night for Kansas severe weather so far in 2025. Well, millions of Americans are in the path of dangerous weather this week following destructive weather over the weekend. And this is the damage in one St. Louis, Missouri neighborhood after Friday night. The National Weather Service believes it was an EF3 tornado that rolled through the city. Since Friday, severe weather has left more than 24 people dead in 3 states, Missouri, Virginia, and Kentucky. Missouri officials spoke out following this weekend's deadly storms. Senator Josh Hawley responded to the damage in St. Louis by calling on insurance companies to quickly pay out claims to those who have been injured or sustained damages as a result of the weather. He also called on the federal government to do its part with recovery efforts.
Now the federal government needs to do its part and the insurance companies need to do their parts. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of rebuilding to do. But these are beautiful neighborhoods, beautiful communities, and the history here is extraordinary. As I was walking these streets, just talking to residents, talking about their grandmother lived here. They raised their children here. One family said they'd been here for 80 years. You know, those are that kind of community. You can't find that anywhere else. We don't want to see that lost. We want to see it rebuilt. And there's a lot of work to do on that beginning ASAP.
Earlier in the day, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe provided an update on the effort to get federal assistance following Friday's storms. He said he requested President Donald Trump issue a federal emergency declaration, which would give Missouri $5 million in immediate funding. He's also pursuing a major disaster declaration to reimburse local governments for emergency storm response and provide assistance to individual storm victims. Authorities respond to a fatal crash this morning involving a member of the Barton County Sheriff's Office. The call came in about 10:30 this morning concerning a motorcycle crash at the intersection of Depot Street and 160 Highway in Golden City. On scene, officers began life-saving measures on one person. They also requested medical helicopters to transport the injured. In a statement, the Barton County Sheriff's Office confirmed one of the injured was Chloe Brower, a member of the Sheriff's Office. Brower had been a member of the Sheriff's Office since 2024. She is survived by many members of her family, including 2 children, her parents, and siblings. Well, surrounding National Peace Officer Memorial Week, the Jasper County Sheriff's Office holds its annual Law Officer Memorial Service at the Jasper County Courthouse. Police agencies from around the county came together today with Sheriff Randy Kaiser to read the names of those who've fallen in the line of duty going back to the late 1800s when the county was formed. There is a permanent memorial on the wall in the West Hall that holds the images and names of those who have died serving Jasper County.
These are men that have made the ultimate sacrifice, and I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we remember that sacrifice. And by meeting like this, saying their names, memorializing their service, I think is important for our community.
After the service, everyone who attended was invited to the Sheriff's Office to enjoy a cookout. Well, President Biden receives an outpouring of support from around the world, including former Presidents Trump and Obama, all as he continues a deeply personal fight against cancer. Plus, summer fun in the sun, but are you taking the right steps to keep your family safe? From sunscreen tips to what to do if your kids fall off their bikes or get stung. Local parents and a pediatrician share important advice you won't want to miss. President Biden's office announces the president has an advanced form of prostate cancer. The president tweeted a message this morning thanking everyone for the well wishes, which have come in from all corners of the world, including from Presidents Trump and Obama. And Biden has been a tireless advocate for cancer research after he lost his son, Beau, to brain cancer. Well, as temperatures rise, so do the risks that come with hot, humid days, especially for children. KOM's Lonnie Walton spoke with a pediatrician about how you can keep your child healthy this summer.
We went out west camping a lot. They hiked.
Debbie Miller is a grandmother from Joplin. She's raised her kids and they're healthy. She says she took the proper measures to keep them safe.
Yes, always sunscreen and hats are important, especially now with ozone.
I also met a grandfather and son who use it.
Make sure you use 2 fingers for every part of your body.
And Dr. William Jones from Mercy Kids in Pittsburgh agrees.
Sunscreen should be applied to every part of the skin that's exposed to the sun. So that means your face, your arms, your legs.
And for Miller, the fun continues with her grandkids.
They were old enough to have bikes. They had bikes and they rode a lot, and we went to Colorado a lot and spent summers out there.
That's great, but if they happen to fall off those bikes, Dr. Jones says they should pay attention to some signs.
They are, limping, having a lot of pain, out of proportion, and aren't just bouncing back after some ice or appropriate pain relief, whether it's Tylenol or ibuprofen, then it might be worth seeing a provider.
And with dealing with stings, Dr. Jones says there's a proper way to remove it, and it's not tweezers.
What you want to do to get it out is get something with a flat edge, like a credit card is a good example, and actually stretch the skin and use the card and push it out.
And Miller has her own advice for keeping up with kids.
Eat well.
I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Dr. Jones said if your child is allergic to bee stings, then it's best to seek medical attention immediately. Well, the Justice Department is investigating United Health Group for potential fraud tied to its Medicare Advantage program. According to the Wall Street Journal, the probe has been underway since last summer and focuses on billing and business practices. United Health says it hasn't been notified of any action and believes its programs are in order. The company is also facing other federal inquiries, including antitrust concerns and Medicare billing reviews, while its stock has dropped nearly 50% in recent weeks. Well, Freeman Health System launches a comprehensive feasibility study in connection with its proposed Frontenac site. The 55-acre site will play host to a $168 million hospital. The study will focus on both the development and long-term success of the hospital, including market dynamics, consumer demand, construction cost, and operational sustainability. The project is currently in the initial phase, which includes site, utilities, and roadways. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, a Mexican Navy ship slams into the Brooklyn Bridge, killing 2 and injuring several others. What went wrong on this goodwill mission and what investigators are looking at now.
Nominate your 4-state.
Well, of course, kind of a wild afternoon, wild couple days. We had thunderstorms on Saturday, scattered about. We did get some yesterday, not much in the way of severe weather. And then, of course, we had the severe weather this afternoon into the evening hours. Good news is we got such a big batch that moved in that it kind of overworked our atmosphere over the past couple hours. So we're kind of shutting this thing down a little faster than what it looked like we were going to be doing. Also, our cap. We always talk about our cap in the atmosphere. When it's super strong, you can't get thunderstorms. If it's kind of weak, like today, you get a messy mix. And then when it's just strong enough, just to keep those storms from going for most of the afternoon, that's when you get the most volatile thunderstorms. So overall, I think we fared pretty well today, even though every single county had a severe thunderstorm warning. All going big time severe weather. West central Arkansas and the northern parts of Arkansas and up through central and eastern parts of Missouri. Here's the dry line back west of Kansas City. We're not seeing much development farther south due to that atmosphere being kind of overworked. Here's the upper level low out across central and western Kansas, and that will spawn some scattered showers and thunderstorms later on tonight, but not much in the way of severe weather. You can see the big, broad circulation of this entire storm system. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Still pretty good rain in our eastern counties from Stockton, Greenfield, Mount Vernon, Monette, all the way down toward Cassville and to Bentonville. Couple little guys trying to get going, but once they move into this more stable air mass, they kind of just go poof across the region. But again, we are going to get scattered thunderstorms. Here's the dry line. Not a whole bunch going on there. And then out to the west, our little upper level low. Can't rule out a random severe thunderstorm warning or two as we go through the night. I just don't think we're going to see much in the way of severe weather across the region. Look at some of these rain amounts, 4, 5, 6 inches on average. I think a lot of areas 1 to 2 inches, but there were some very high amounts, and that's why we've had some flash flooding over the past several hours. All right, so hit and miss storms for us tonight. Again, not much in the way of severe weather, if any at all. By morning, few morning showers. We break out, see partly sunny skies, then up to about 71 or 72 degrees. So here's 5 p.m. Let's go into Tuesday night. We start to get a little bit of a southerly wind back, kind of cool. We drop back near 50 degrees, and then heading into Wednesday, not a bad day. Temps low to mid 70s, still smidge below where we should be for this time of the year. Actually looking at Pittsburgh right now. We'll check out Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex in the second half hour. Mid 60s, that's where we sit. But again, a little cool for us as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Day planner 72 for a high on your Tuesday, 75 Wednesday, 72 Thursday. Kind of cool. We got rain chances moving in. You got to remember this is Memorial Weekend, and it's not going to feel very Memorial-ish like for the kickoff of summer. It's going to be kind of cool. Mid 70s rain chances.
Which is a little bit crazy. Hopefully we can work in a little bit of pool time.
There you go.
A little bit of grill time.
Yeah.
I know you want to do that.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, an ethics complaint is filed against the mayor of Carl Junction by a city council member. It's in connection to comments he allegedly made about female city employees. KOEM's Samantha Walker has the details.
Discussion of an ethics complaint is on the city council agenda for Carl Junction. This comes after a council member filed a complaint against Mayor Mike Moss earlier this month. Moss was recently elected mayor in April of this year. City Council member James Schenck submitted a report alleging Mayor Moss has repeatedly referred to female city employees as, quote, Steve's harem. He says that's likely a reference to City Administrator Steve Lawver. Schenck informed Lawver of these comments, saying Moss was likely making the comment to disparage the city administrator's character. In his complaint, Schenck says Moss made the Steve's harem comment both before and after he was elected. The city councilman says he hopes the comment was just a slip-up, but sees it leading to situations causing a, quote, hostile work environment to rear its head if these types of comments are allowed to circulate. Shanks adds the situation could negatively affect the city and erode faith in city officials. Reporting in Carl Junction, Samantha Walker, KOEM News.
KOEM reached out to Moss for comment and has not yet heard back. The ethics complaint is set to be acknowledged by City Council at their meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Well, coming up, new bill signed.
President Trump signs a bill long advocated for by the First Lady. I'm Connor Hansen in New York. What's in it? Coming up.
Let's rock the woods.
The president, alongside First Lady Melania Trump, signed the Take It Down Act into law today. The bill gives added protections to victims of digital exploitation. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the latest.
Today, it's my honor to officially sign the Take It Down Act into law. It's a big thing, very important, so horrible what takes place.
President Trump, joined by First Lady Melania, signed the Take It Down Act. The new law gives victims a way to force online platforms to take down non-consensual AI-generated pornographic images, known as deepfakes. It's an issue the First Lady has made a priority.
The well-being of our children is central to our future, of our families and America.
In some cases, artificial intelligence has moved faster than legislation can keep up with. It has left victims of the disturbing new trend wondering where they can turn. One of them, just 15 years old, says a classmate was able to generate a deepfake using a photo from her Instagram account and shared it with others on Snapchat.
I felt responsible and began to blame myself and was ashamed to tell my parents despite doing nothing wrong.
Shame, the violation, the loss of control, it all consumes you. We have the legislation to create accountability. Now we need the will to act.
The law, authored by Texas Senator Ted Cruz, will force companies to take the content down within 48 hours after a victim reports it. It doesn't only apply to AI images, but any intimate photo that doesn't have the consent of the person in it. The new law gives the Federal Trade Commission the power to punish any company that doesn't comply. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Over half of U.S. states are cracking down on nonstick products made with PFAS, chemicals found in cookware, clothing, and cosmetics. At this Chicago factory, workers apply for FDA-approved nonstick coatings to everyday items, but some lawmakers want tighter rules. PFAS are called forever chemicals because they do not break down naturally, and some are linked to health risk. Industry leaders say not all PFAS are dangerous and warn against broad bans that could impact safe products, even medical devices. Up next, a big move for Big Bird. Sesame Street is heading to Netflix. We're going to tell you what's changing and what's staying the same for the fans of the iconic show.
At Aaron Sachs.
We could tell you a new way to get to Sesame Street through Netflix. Sesame Workshop just struck a deal with the streamer after Warner Brothers Discovery decided not to renew its agreement with Max. And now new episodes will premiere on Netflix and PBS at the same time, a shift from the old delayed model. Season 56 will be released in 3 batches with a new format. Netflix will also get 90 hours of older content. Old episodes will remain on HBO Max through 2027. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. A 2-hour call between Trump and Vladimir Putin sparks new talk of peace in Ukraine. We're going to tell you what was said and why experts are still skeptical a deal is close. And a tall ship on a Goodwill tour takes a deadly turn, slamming into the iconic Brooklyn Bridge. What went wrong just minutes after leaving port, and what federal investigators are looking into now.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. With the war in Ukraine not letting up, President Trump had separate phone calls this morning with Presidents Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky. Fox News' Rebecca Castor is in Washington with the latest on peace negotiations.
Following a 2-hour phone call with Russia's Vladimir Putin Monday, President Donald Trump says Russia and Ukraine will immediately start ceasefire negotiations.
I think some progress has been made. It's a terrible situation going on over there. 5,000 young people every single week are being killed. So hopefully we did something. We also spoke to the heads of most of the European nations.
But the White House plans to take a back seat when it comes to the specifics of a deal, leaving it up to the 2 parties involved.
They were trying to get that whole thing wrapped up. What a shame that it ever started in the first place.
Putin also confirmed Monday he's ready to work with Ukraine on a path to peace, and says negotiators who met with Ukrainian officials for the first time in Turkey last week are back in contact.
This gives grounds to believe that we are generally on the right track. I would like to emphasize once again that the conversation was very constructive and I rate it highly.
But Putin's conditions for a ceasefire up to this point have been impossible for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to agree to, such as recognizing Crimea as Russian territory. And without the U.S. involved in negotiations, it's unclear if a deal can realistically be reached.
We're going to try to end it, but if we can't end it, we're eventually going to say, you know what, that was worth a try, but we're not doing it anymore.
The new American Pope has offered Russia and Ukraine to hold direct peace talks at the Vatican, an idea Trump supports. The president also says he's willing to do large-scale trade with Russia once the, quote, bloodbath is over. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, the National Transportation Safety Board launches a probe into the collision of a Mexican Navy tall ship and the Brooklyn Bridge. In a news conference today, NTSB investigators said the information they have is preliminary and warned it could change as the investigation proceeds. Alexis McAdams has the latest.
Federal officials are investigating how a Mexican Navy tall ship struck the iconic Brooklyn Bridge on Saturday.
This is the start of a long process.
The question pertains to a possible cause of the bridge strike, possibly as an engine failure. We will look at the status of the engine. We'll look for any failures. look for engine inspections.
The Mexican Navy training ship was on a global goodwill tour and was scheduled to visit 22 different ports over the next year. The ship was leaving New York City and heading to Iceland. But in what looked like the scene out of a movie, you can see the boat traveling in reverse at a high speed. The Mexican flags waving in the wind, nearly 300 people on board when investigators say that ship lost power, then the motor gave out, smashing into the iconic bridge, snapping all 3 of its large masts on impact.
The captain that was maneuvering the ship lost, power of the ship and the current. Mechanical function caused the ship to go right into the pillar of the bridge.
People nearby watched in horror as the ship's crew hung from harnesses in the air. Authorities say no one fell into the water.
Things like kept on snapping, and I think there was a person dangling from the top. Just heard like gasps and screaming.
The crash left many badly injured and 2 were killed.
First and foremost, and our solidarity always goes out to a cadet and a sailor who died, and we are going to be attending to them.
Right now, the NTSB is investigating this crash, and it could take a few months to figure everything out. Reporting in New York City, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a wild afternoon and evening. Severe weather across the region with the dynamics our atmosphere had. It could have been much worse, so let's be very thankful of that. However, on the other end, we have 28 counties, all 28 were under a severe thunderstorm warning at some point in time, and we had 5 tornado warnings. So big severe weather event, a lot of power outages, trees down, but thankfully not much worse than that. All the severe weather now, central eastern Missouri, tracking back through northern parts of Arkansas. You can see it extend south of Fort Smith into southeastern parts of Oklahoma. A little bit of severe weather still going on near Kansas City. Here's the upper level wave. There's going to be a couple random severe thunderstorms, but overall it's winding down, except in this sector out across south central and eastern parts of Missouri. Big upper level low. And of course, it's been multiple days of severe weather. Started last Friday. Of course, St. Louis, Kentucky had the tornadoes. Had a little bit of severe weather Saturday. Had some yesterday. Had some tonight. Still have a couple little stronger storms, but not much in the way of severe thunderstorms. Still pretty good rain right across our eastern counties. Have a little bit of severe weather up along the I-70 corridor, and then the upper level wave. We can't rule out a random severe thunderstorm warning for us tonight, but overall this is calming down, which is great news. Look at some of these rain stripes. I mean, we're talking 5-6 inches, about an inch in Joplin, 3 or 4 once you get down into southwestern Missouri. So good rainfall amounts as we go through the night. Hit and miss little storms. We can't rule out a severe thunderstorm warning with 1, maybe 2 storms, but I'm not concerned about it as we go through the night. Partly sunny skies, warm into lower 70s on your Tuesday, which is below normal. We should be near 80 here in the back half of May. Heading into Wednesday morning, kind of chilly, down near 50 degrees. May overall has not been a very warm month. We had one little stretch where we had some 80s, and that was about it. Back into the low to mid 70s once again on Wednesday, but mainly dry, which is good news. Could get a few random showers in here Wednesday night, and then as we go into Thursday morning, but overall I'm really going to keep most of the rest of the week dry at this point in time. Kind of windy, roads wet. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, mid to upper 60s to near 70 outside. The cold front hasn't rolled through. It's still way back toward the west. That's why our winds are shifting back toward the south out ahead of that cold front, which is going to push through later on tonight. Day planner 62 to start, 68 by noon. Let's go with a high temp of 72 degrees. 70s all week. And again, I'll really dig into the rest of the week's forecast and the weekend forecast tomorrow. Today's been kind of severe weather day. Kind of cool for Memorial Weekend, but hey, it's Memorial Weekend. It's the unofficial start of summertime.
I know. And you know, it may be too cold to go to the pool, but you can still grill out and have a good time and get some here and there maybe sunshine.
You can grill out in the snow.
Yes, yes you can. Yes. But we're going to have fun.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, Well, still ahead, a few of our local high school softball teams play their first games of the postseason. Plus, Parsons High School celebrates a state championship for boys tennis. John Dales has those stories and more up next in sports.
It's an exciting time of year for high school baseball and softball. The regular season is done for all of our local teams, and that means the playoffs are here. Now, most of the games in our area get pushed to tomorrow because of the weather, but a few do actually get played. One of those being up in Burlington, as Neodesha High School softball has its season come to a close. The ladies' streaks fall to the Wildcats 21-zip in the regional quarterfinal this afternoon. Elsewhere in that same regional, Iola faces Anderson County. Humboldt plays against Prairie View. Not much of a surprise, they each get caught in a weather delay, so the Cubs trail the Buffaloes 7-3 at the end of the second inning. That game in Humboldt, it is paused and will be resumed tomorrow at noon, so that's not a final score. Meanwhile, the Mustangs beat the Bulldogs 7-0. Because 5 innings get completed there, that score does go final. Meanwhile, down in Arizona, Crowder College Softball plays its first game at the NJCAA World Series. The Rough Riders take care of business in their tournament opener. They beat McCook 4-2, and Crowder stays in the winner's bracket for the double elimination tournament. They will face the number 1 seed in the tournament, that's Florida Southwestern, tomorrow. And over the weekend, the Kansas Boys High School Tennis State Championships take place. One of our local schools brings home some major hardware. That's this Saturday as Parsons Boys High School Tennis celebrates a team state championship. The Vikings tie with Winfield for first place in Class 4A, each of them scoring 29 points at the state finals. Viking junior Wyatt Schultz finishes as state runner-up in singles, and 2 pairs of double partners finish in the top 10 for Parsons. That's Connor Barkus and Cole Kennett. They take 7th place. Davian Holman and Mason Morris finish in 8th place. And in Major League Baseball, the Cardinals just took 2 out of 3 against the Royals in Kansas City over the weekend. That wraps up a very successful road trip for the Redbirds. They went 7-2, and they earned series victories over the Phillies and Nationals as well. Tonight, the Cardinals, they're back in St. Louis, and they play host to the Tigers. That game is in the 8th inning as we come on the air. It's been all Cardinals so far. They hold an 11-0 lead. Sonny Gray is in line to get the win on the mound after throwing 6 innings and striking out 10, and Ivan Herrera is 2 for 4 with 2 runs, and 2 RBI. The Royals, they're in San Francisco starting a 3-game series this evening. Now, because they're on the West Coast, late start to this one. As we come on the air, they're in the 4th inning. The Giants have yet to get a hit off Royals starting pitcher Chris Bubich, and Kansas City, they've scrapped together 4 hits thus far, but it hasn't led to any runs yet. And the Royals definitely like to see that result in the Cardinals game against the Tigers because they're in first place in the Royals division, so they're going to take all the help that they can get in running them down.
Yes, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Go Royals.
Of course.
All right, thanks, John. We're back with more news after this. Millions of people in the central U.S. are bracing for more severe weather following a brutal round of storms that brought devastation to multiple states. As Nicole Valdez reports, dozens of people are dead, including at least 19 in Kentucky, where the governor declared a state of emergency.
With the threat of more severe weather on the way, residents in Kentucky are racing to clean up what they can.
There ain't no words for it. It's like a war zone.
A tornado tore through the town of London Friday, 80 miles south of Lexington, ripping through homes and trees on a 16-mile path of destruction.
Right here where the green carpet is, that was my apartment.
Getson Roberts' apartment complex near the London Corbin Airport was leveled while he was still inside.
We dug ourselves out of this between that washing machine and that refrigerator. By the grace of God, we survived it.
The devastation really shows just how powerful this was because it goes on for what looks like miles, shredding even brick homes like this.
We should not have survived this.
These newlyweds escaped with their lives, but lost their home and almost everything in it.
We lost our wedding bands because we had them on a hook in the kitchen.
In Missouri, several people were killed after an EF3 tornado with wind speeds around 150 miles per hour ravaged the St. Louis metro area.
It's so overwhelming. This is a pain like I can't describe.
In Colorado Sunday, another twister blew this barn from its foundation and flipped a 20-foot mobile home on its side.
My phone has been ringing nonstop. My one neighbors came and they helped me get the dogs.
People in North Texas, west of Dallas, are also assessing the damage. Severe weather there caused power outages and forced one school district to cancel classes Monday.
Well, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says multiple people remain hospitalized in the state, with 3 still in critical condition. Well, a tough opening for the weekend on the big screen, while an Xbox classic gets a movie makeover. And a new indie film explores the balancing act of motherhood and music. Up next. Movie, music, streaming, and video game news now. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
A bad weekend for The Weeknd. Hurry Up Tomorrow, the music star's movie debut, under his given name, Abel Tesfaye, opened weekly in theaters, missing the top 5 with a mere $3.3 million in estimated ticket sales. And the film's freshness rating on RottenTomatoes.com is a dismal 13%. A Gears of War movie is on the way. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the Fall Guy director David Leitch is in talks to helm Netflix's adaptation of the Smash Xbox video game. Leitch would also produce the film.
Oh my God, what am I doing? What you should be doing. You've got a beautiful daughter.
Mommy, stay here with me.
What more can you want?
Anna Campbell stars in Nora as a woman torn between the music career she left behind and being a solo parent for her 6-year-old daughter. Campbell also wrote and directed the film, which is set to stream on the Veeps platform Saturday. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a northern rockhopper penguin. That's pretty cool. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.